Are we witnessing the beginnings of a new world order? More than a year and a half on from the day that Russia invaded Ukraine, and fighting continues into an uncertain future. Millions have been displaced, thousands killed, and a world economy reeling, with soaring inflation threatening recession and record-high energy and food costs impacting us all. What some predicted as a simple and decisive victory for Russia's army continues to be a bitter turf battle, with the United States and NATO throwing their weight, their arms, and their sanctions behind Ukraine's resistance efforts. But what Western powers imagined would be a united front against Russia hasn't come to pass, with many countries choosing instead to wait on the sidelines, watching the rise of another global superpower in China, one that demands a different kind of loyalty. Welcome to The Big Picture, a show about the past, the present, and the future. My name is Mohammed Hassan, and today we are speaking to Middle East Eye's editor-in-chief, David Hurst. Last year, when the war broke out, Hurst predicted it was a turning point in global politics, signaling a new world order no longer governed by consensus and no longer led by the West. So, has this new reality come true? This place, the UN Security Council that was set up essentially to try and create a kind of stability in the world order, no longer is relevant when it comes to a war that is being waged by one of the Security Council members.
Yes, I think so. But you've got to remember that the what sort of international accountability was there for Iraq? What sort of international accountability or war crimes was available in Afghanistan? You're absolutely right. That they are completely empty spaces as far as getting some form of accountability and justice is concerned. But it's a collective effort. So I don't really think that international justice exists, or rather exists for, it exists for the weak global South, but it doesn't exist for Britain or for American troops, and certainly not in this case either. And I think what's happening is a post-Ukraine world is going to look very, very much more divided into two power centers, into America and Beijing. The internet is going to be divided. The trade routes are going to be divided. I think it'll be a long time before there will be East-West trade again in any meaningful sense.
Is this war about, for the U.S. specifically, about trying to kind of keep hold of any last remnants that it still has of being this kind of singular superpower in the world?
Well, I think they're having great difficulty in coming to terms. I mean, Biden wanted the return of America to international diplomacy, and we're back, and we're here, and we're going to be around, and everyone can feel it. I think he's had a lot more trouble achieving that goal, particularly amongst his allies, because I think there's a fundamental loss of trust in America as the power that you can lean on for your protection. I think that's what's going on in Saudi Arabia at the moment. I think that's what's going on in the Emirates. However, he has gone absolutely full square behind Ukraine in terms of military support. He's gone much further, I think, than even he would have dared to do on Ukraine. So much so that Russia thinks America is actually militarily involved, and that the Third World War has already started.
And a lot of these countries in the Middle East, for example, they very much like his predecessor a lot more than they like him.
Yeah, but they've lost their trust in America as protecting power. Iran can supply second generation or first generation drones to Russia, and they still work against much more expensive American anti-missile defense. So you have the defeating of the pitting of very sophisticated, very, very expensive Western munitions against very cheap but just as effective Iranian or Russian munitions. So the balance of power in the world is changing, and psychologically, more than anything else, the West needs to adjust its thinking to a new world where it can't simply bully people into accepting its writ. So the problem America faces is not so much with its declared enemies, Iran and the enemies of Israel, Hezbollah and Hamas. It's with its allies. And its allies have lost faith in American protection.